Hello, everybody. My name is Jordan Chen, and I'm a registered dietitian at Manhattan Medical Group and the Heart and Vascular Clinic. And I like to give diabetes presentations once a month at the Senior Center, but obviously now we have to kind of go virtual with everything going on, and I just want everybody to be safe. So for now, I'm going to try to do things through recording, and then if you have questions, I can answer them maybe through a live situation, or you can kind of message if you have further questions. But just to get started, I originally was going to talk about heart health and diabetes this month, but I figured with everything going on, it would be a better idea to talk about kind of eating healthy while under quarantine or while having limited access to fresh produce and not wanting to go to the grocery store as much as you used to. So it will be the topic today is more healthy eating with limited resources. So I will get started. Some of the first things I wanted to talk about is safety when grocery shopping, because obviously you still have to get food, and if you have a relative getting it for you, that's one thing, but oftentimes you have to go get it yourself. So ideally you'd want to be wearing a mask when you go in, and then trying to wash your hands, before you go in, and then after you leave. You can wear gloves, but don't think of them as like you can go ahead and touch anything, because it's kind of like if you ruin one set of gloves, it's just going to be spreading germs. So trying to make sure that you wash your hands frequently and go in with a mask. If you have an N95 mask, great, but most of the reason you wear a mask is to protect other people. So this way, if you breathe on some produce or food, you're not spreading any germs around. So you can go to the grocery store, and obviously if you buy fresh produce, it's more likely to go bad faster, but it's still really important to have if you can get it, just because it is really nutritious. But some other things you can get that are just as good, they're going to last longer, would be frozen food. Frozen food have just as much nutrients as the fresh food. They can last longer, you could store them. So if you like fresh vegetables, try frozen vegetables instead. That might last longer. Some other things would be canned. You could do canned vegetables, canned fruits. I just usually recommend for people to rinse them out because that gets rid of a third of the sodium, or you can look for no salt added for vegetables. But generally shelf-stable things, you can still get your fruits and vegetables, but just try to get frozen or canned in addition to the fresh. So this way you still can meet your 5 servings a day recommended amount. But yeah, it's kind of just thinking around the box just to try to make sure you're still getting a balanced diet when going out to grocery shop. And that kind of brings me to another topic where it's better to plan out somewhat what kind of meals you're going to eat for the week. So this way you're not just going in blindly and just kind of grabbing whatever looks good when you're at the store. So I would just try to make a list of meals that you're going to be making for the week. So this way you can kind of stick to a certain grocery list. And then this way you're not going to be having as much food waste, and also you can kind of plan out healthy meals. So try to plan out a food list, so this way you have your meats that you're going to buy, vegetables, fruits, grains, whatever other produce you're going to buy. But a big tip would be meal planning. And just to give a quick review, generally for a meal, when you plan it out, you're going to want to refer back to that plate method, especially for blood sugar control and weight maintenance. Just to review, I am putting up a picture of the plate method, but the big thing is going to be trying to have the majority of your meal be a non-starchy vegetable, and that could be anything from a leafy green to asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, onions, peppers, mushrooms, those kind of green vegetable non-starchy type things are going to be what you're going to want to base your meal off of. So that's when the frozen vegetables can come in handy, because then you could kind of make a mixture with that. Like if you make a casserole, try incorporating more of the vegetables part that rather than the starch. But the other components is trying to stick with a smaller portion of your starch, and then also try to have a protein. Protein is going to be really ideal for trying to level out your blood sugars. So that's why I really am an advocate for the plate method. And it's very possible to do that. Just try to plan your meals accordingly before you go out and buy the ingredients. And that's for the next thing I want to just touch on is when you do go grocery shopping, make sure you're not going on an empty stomach. Make sure you eat before you go. So this way, when you do go, you're not reaching for snacks like chips, crackers, cookies, things that are going to be a very high carbohydrate, high glycemic index processed food that's not going to be good for diabetes. That's going to end up raising blood sugars. So this way you reach for healthier snacks that you're going to have on hand. Like a really good option for people with diabetes would be having nuts as a snack. You could have any type of like vegetable you could snack on, like baby carrots last a long time. Baby bell peppers last quite a while too. You could always have like a hard-boiled egg or some tuna salad, things that aren't going to be that processed grain that's going to raise your blood sugars. And I think everyone knows, sugary foods and chips and crackers are not going to be the best for diabetes. The next thing I wanted to talk about is when you're actually at home and trying to eat healthy. I have had a lot of patients recently that have told me they've been bored, they just don't have anything else to do, they're not as active, so they're reaching more for snacks when they're not necessarily hungry, and a lot of people are struggling with gaining weight right now. So I just wanted to touch on the topic for how to, better set yourself up so you're going to come out of quarantine, come out of coronavirus, still healthy and still with adequately controlled blood sugars and hopefully not too much weight gain. But so I was just going to go over some quick tips for that. So since you're going to be spending a lot of time at home and probably too nervous to go outside as much as you used to, I would say the biggest thing is to not bring a lot of these triggering foods in to the house to begin with. And I just talked about when you go grocery shopping, try to eat before you go so you're not tempted to grab like those types of snacky foods. But that is the biggest tip. If it's not there, you're not going to reach for it. But let's say you do have like other types of like junk foods or sugary foods that you have in the house and you don't want to throw it out, so you're just trying to portion control it. The biggest thing I would say is before you reach for the snack, ask for yourself, am I hungry or am I bored? Or is it something else? So this way at least you ask yourself before you go ahead and reach for it. And let's say you do realize you're not really hungry, you're just reaching for it because it's there, or there's not anything else to do and you're just in the mood for it. There's nothing wrong with, having a little piece if you just really are craving it, but I would suggest maybe have a glass of water first, because a lot of times people mistake hunger for thirst. So have a glass of water, wait 10 minutes, see if you're still in the mood for it. And then let's say you're still really craving that snack or whatever you wanted. Try to like just serve that one portion of it and then put the rest away. And like savor each bite. Try to enjoy the snack that you're having, knowing it's a treat. So this way you feel satisfied and you're less likely to go back and get more. And that kind of brings me to a point of try to give yourself one portion of whatever it is. If it's chips, try to have like the 1 ounce or whatever of chips, put it in a bowl, put the bag away. Or if you are having a piece of candy, put all the other candy, like hide them away and just grab the one piece of candy. But the big thing is, asking yourself first if you really are wanting it because of you're bored or stressed out, or if you're actually hungry. But again, there's nothing wrong with having a treat. It's just a matter of having portion control. But the big thing, obviously, is not to have a bunch of these types of foods in the house to begin with. I personally try to keep sweets out of my house because I will eat the entire bag like within a couple of days. So I know my limits about not having these types of triggering foods. So that's just my tip for patients, is try to keep those kinds of foods out of the house to begin with, and maybe go to the store, buy one portion of it if you really are craving something. And if you do notice that you're still craving foods and it's not hunger related, I just would recommend to try to just distract yourself by, maybe you can take a walk outside, just stay 6 feet away from other people. You can go outside and garden. You can go take your dog on a walk. I mean, basically anything that's gonna try to get your mind off of it, that and doing something you enjoy would be a good way to, wait it out and see if that's like a craving that you're still going to have. But a lot of times those cravings pass, and if you're not hungry, go distract yourself, especially by doing something active, because any type of movement's good for you. That's going to help help your body utilize your blood sugars effectively and go into your muscles. So I would just recommend, trying to distract yourself by doing something active away from the food. So this way you're less likely to go ahead and reach for an unhealthy snack. Okay, well, I don't want to bore you guys and take up too much of your time. So I will just leave the video up, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the message, or you can email me. But I'm going to just try to make these short little videos, so this way you still get your diabetes information every month. But I hope that you find this information helpful, and I look forward to seeing any questions that you guys have. But I wish you luck with this whole quarantine, and stay safe out there.